right, guys, welcome back to the class. Thank you, Diana, for showing us the trends and inspiration for your YouTube thumbnails or for your
You're
thumbnails.
welcome.
Yep. So let's move on. I'm going to take you through this lecture and we are going to talk about thumbnail strategy. So I'm going to develop two particular strategies in this lecture, and I'm also going to go over some common guidelines, tips, or good practices, I would say, for developing your thumbnails. And then in the next lectures, we will actually get to Canva and design two different thumbnails, right, Diana?
Right, Canva?
I was going to call you Canva, right, Diana?
Yeah.
All right, so let's get started. I have a little presentation here. So let me start by telling you that the reason why you need good thumbnails is that there is an overload of content, and especially on YouTube, over 500 hours of content are uploaded on YouTube every minute. So I know it's a number that is difficult to really fully comprehend, but that means a lot of video uploaded on YouTube every single minute. So that means that there is a fierce competition for people's attention on YouTube. Everybody is trying to catch the same eyeball,
Yeah.
I should say. I saw you wanted to make that same joke. So that is the reason why you should put all the chances on your side in order to catch those people's attention, okay? So in order to put all the chances on your side, there are really two things you can do. The first one is optimizing your titles. So what do people search for on YouTube? You have to find the right keywords. You have to optimize your video titles so that people search for certain things on YouTube and they find you. Of course, it's not that straightforward. There's a whole algorithm thing going on and authority building on the platform. But it still comes down to optimizing your video and titles and finding the right keyword.
Yeah, and also apart from the title, there is the video description, the tags, and like all the text that you put into your video, written text.
A whole work of text optimization, I would call that, SEO optimization, search engine optimization. This is not what this class is about. This is a class about number 2 right here, creating thumbnails that give people a good reason to click on your video. So these are the two things that really you can influence if you want more views on your videos, optimizing your titles, right keywords, and optimizing your thumbnails. So of course, this class is focusing on the second point. So let me give you my first thumbnail strategy. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right, drum roll. Okay, so the first one is show your face. We already mentioned that, Diana already mentioned that when she was talking about the facial expressions. So remember the 6 facial expressions: happiness, sadness, surprise, fear, anger, and disgust. Diana, can you show us a disgust face?
Wait.
All right.
What about yours?
My disgust face?
Yeah.
All right, so remember, guys, that these facial expressions, especially if you're going to show your face on your thumbnail, be careful not to overdo it, though some of these people are overdoing it. Try to be natural, but still like have this expression. And I know for some of you guys it's going to be difficult because some of you are shyer than others and they don't like to show their faces. You don't have to show your face, but it's a real advantage and it's a real trend we have observed. Doing our research, it's something we are doing and it's working for us.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt,
no
but
worry.
I have a tip here.
Yep.
Some people, I think the one that is the fear example, this is a screenshot of the video. So it's not like as she was posing for doing this face. Like sometimes when you are vlogging or you're talking to the camera, you do these kind of faces without noticing. And while you are watching the video, if you see something like a face that you did and it's like really funny or
Just
like any
grab
of these
frame,
facial expressions, you can just take a snapshot and use this for your thumbnail. So that's a tip.
That is a tip indeed.
I've done it before and it's working. Cool.
So we encourage you to do it. So that's the first strategy. Show your face. Use the the commonly recognized facial expressions. Thumbnail strategy number 2, and that is one that is increasingly popular on YouTube. And this one consists of using bold keywords or keyword singular in your thumbnail. So why is that? Because if you choose the right keyword, and you don't need a lot of text, I would say maximum 3 to 4 words on your thumbnails, but these words are super important. How to choose them? Well, the idea here is not, if you're creating, let's say, a tutorial about Canva, create cool thumbnails with Canva. Your thumbnail should probably not say the exact same thing as your title, but you would choose a couple of keywords that would either create attention, create some mystery, or create some kind of intrigue, like kind of you give people a good reason to want to know more with these keywords. So I have a couple of examples to show you.
And you can also use these keywords to complement the text that is in your title.
Yeah,
you can
it should
also
be
do that.
a complementary thing, actually. So I wanted to show you these 2 examples that come from our videos that have been working well. The first one, it says PowerPoint killer, and then you see a Canva logo here. So it creates some kinds of, intrigue, like how is Canva a PowerPoint killer? You want to know. So it gives you an incentive, an intrigue, like a kind of mystery, and you want to click to know more.
And I think maybe also a lot of people, they don't know that Canva has a presentation feature.
Yeah.
And you are also putting that on the thumbnail, like present feature.
Present feature. So it creates some kind of mystery, it creates curiosity, intrigue, you want to know more. And this one, which is my favorite, it says finally, and my face is like, finally.
Surprised
face. Finally what? Why does Ronnie look so shocked?
Yes.
And what is this Canva with the play button here in the background? It seems like something is cooking. I'm not saying what it is. I'm just showing you that. And this video performed really well. It's one of our best performing, both of these videos actually are some of our best performing videos.
Actually, when you created this thumbnail,
yeah,
I was like, this is not going to work, because like what we were doing before, it was like putting some keywords complementary to the title.
Oh, similar to
kind of like to the one on the left.
Yeah.
So it was like very consistent, like talking about what is happening in the tutorial.
Yeah.
But this one is just finally one face, one expression, and kind of like a Canva logo in a play button.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not sure how this is going to work.
You didn't believe in me. We can say that. But then the video exploded.
Yes, and I'm happy that you took this chance, actually.
All right. Thank you for believing in me next time. All right. So these are the 2 main thumbnail strategy, I would say. Show your face and use relevant keywords that will create tension, mystery, intrigue, or like awaken the curiosity of your viewers. Okay, so these are the 2 main overarching strategies, I would say. Now I want to give you a couple of tips on how to implement these strategies and general tips about creating thumbnails for your videos. So the first thing I want to raise here is that YouTube is not like TV. Okay, when you turn on the TV, the traditional TV, because nowadays like people have TVs, but it's mostly connected to the internet. But like rewind a couple of years and turn on the TV and you have your favorite like channels, right? So the content on TV is already playing for you. You don't really pick it, like it's there. Unlike on YouTube, you log into YouTube and then you have to click, you have to pick something to start with. And that is why thumbnails are so important. That's the first thing I wanted to show you here. I think it's relevant to notice that. Second is that it doesn't matter how good your video is. You could create the best video on YouTube. If nobody is encouraged to click on that video, if nobody discovers that video among the 500 hours of video uploaded every minute on that platform, nobody's going to notice your masterpiece of video. So creating a video is one thing, and you should not put all your efforts into creating the best video in the world. You should keep a good amount of that effort to create your thumbnail and to optimize your title. So that's my second tip. Like, don't spend too much time. I've heard people saying they spent as much time creating the thumbnail as the entire video. So just be mindful about that.
I have heard this from big YouTubers.
Yeah.
Like they could spend like maybe 2 days filming a video, like filming and editing,
Yeah.
and they will spend like 1 day or 2 days on just creating the thumbnail.
The perfect thumbnail, right?
Yes, and they do it and then they redo it, and sometimes they upload the video with one thumbnail and they think, no, maybe I will change it again.
Yeah.
And they change it once again once the video is uploaded.
Yeah.
So
And that's a good thing that you can, we'll come to that.
yeah.
So your thumbnails need to encapsulate the same message as your video. So it needs to form like a whole, like your thumbnail, your video, they should communicate the same message, the same story, right? So you have to find a way to represent kind of the whole story within your thumbnail. So that's important also. Next, YouTube is a very visual platform. Facebook is also a very visual platform. So your thumbnail should play and obey the same rules. Your thumbnail should be highly visual. Okay, so you can see here, like I see a thumbnail, whoa, I'm excited, I want to click and watch this video. So remember that you are playing on a platform where visual is the name of the game. So be visual, like be highly visual. Okay, so a great thumbnail will be able to tell the entire story. Already kind of touched on that point, but if you can really encapsulate the entire story, so if it's a before and after, like Diana was mentioning, if it's a process of transformation, try to illustrate that with your thumbnail. Like without watching the video, people should understand what the video is all about just by watching the thumbnail. So the best performing thumbnails will be the ones that tells the whole story.
And I think, like, for example, we have two good examples. Like, for example, you have the example of the video thumbnail that creates curiosity, the one that you just showed with the little pencil. What was finally
yeah.
Yes. And the thumbnail that I'm going to teach in this course actually is this kind of thumbnail, the one that tells the story.
The whole story.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Next, make your thumbnails colorful, bright, and contrasty. So that's tied to the previous tip I just gave you. Like, YouTube is a highly visual platform, so your thumbnails need to be highly visual. What are the rules to get people's attention with visuals? Well, a lot of colors, showing your face, bright, contrasty. It needs to stand out. So that's the general rule here. You need to get that attention. You need to be standing out from the rest, from the competition. Remember, everybody's trying to catch the same ball, eyeball. So, use these techniques. Use the graphic design fundamentals like color, brightness, contrast. All of this will help you create powerful thumbnails. All right, what would be click-worthy? So you really have to take time, and that's why some of the big YouTubers take as long as sometimes a couple of days to create and perfect their thumbnails, because they really have to figure out what would be click-worthy. You can almost think like clickbait. Don't go clickbait, showing your tits, showing your bums on there, but
what do you mean by clickbait? Because maybe some people, they don't understand the keyword clickbait.
So clickbait is some kind of image that would give people a reason to click, like to kind of force that click by overdoing it a little bit just to get the click. So a typical example is you see a video and you see a close-up on a woman's chest with big boobs. That would be clickbait, because they know men will click on that just because they see big boobs.
Then clickbait is like if they put this kind of thumbnail and then people go to the video, they won't see this image. This is
probably
clickbait?
Exactly. It's
they
like you kind of fool people into clicking by having a visual that is maybe not related to the content. So we don't encourage you to do this, but it's a fine line. So what would be click-worthy? So it's the fine line between click-worthy and clickbait. But it has to be, you have to experiment. You have to kind of find that frontier between what is too much and what is like good enough for making people click. So it's an art.
I think maybe click-worthy or like trying to make people click. One of the good examples is the human emotions, because, for example, in your thumbnail, the one that says "finally," you have a face like, what is happening? So this is something that gets people attention, but it's not clickbait because you are actually.
I want to go back to this thumbnail. Yes. So this one, I would say it's almost clickbait.
Yeah.
Because I put the Canva video logo and people were kind of waiting for the video feature on Canva. So I'm not saying that video is about this, but I'm suggesting it. So it's clickbait. Finally, we've been waiting for this. So,
yeah, exactly. This is kind of like in the borderline.
Exactly.
That's why I was kind of scared when you came up with this idea.
I think you got the point. You have to be almost clickbait. So don't be clickbait, be almost clickbait. That's the best way I can articulated this.
Yeah, because it's an art kind of.
It's a balance. I would say it's a balance, exactly. Like the guy walking on his line here, 6 foot on top of the floor, and you have to balance these things. You have to feel it. Like my
what kind of analogy is that?
It's a circus analogy. All right. Next tip. Don't be too distracting. Don't be like this guy here on top, too crowded, overdoing it. When you look at these thumbnails, you don't really know where to look first. There's too much information going on. There is too saturated. It's too much. So don't be too all over the place, too crowded in your thumbnails. Keep it simple. Stick to your story. And this guy, you remember his name? I really love this guy on YouTube.
Matt Davila.
Matt Davila. Matt Davila? Davila or Davila. Very good YouTuber. You can see his thumbnails. They have absolutely no words. It's very minimalistic. There is an harmony between the colors, the color correction, the theme. You see, it's quite minimalistic indeed, but it's working.
Yeah, and I really like this example, or actually his thumbnails, because when you look at his photos, he's telling you the full story of his video in just one photo, and that's also an art. This is photography art, because we also do photography, and when you want to tell a story, you need to be really careful with all the elements that you include in your photo, and he's doing an amazing job with each thumbnail. Like, you need to go to his YouTube channel and check his thumbnails.
All right.
Yeah.
Will do. Next, ask for feedback. And that's why sometimes it can take up to a couple of days to come up with the right thumbnail. Because, you create your first thumbnail and then you could use your other social media channels like a Facebook group or a Facebook page or even like Twitter to post 2 different versions of your thumbnail and ask your audience, like, which one do you prefer, A or B? Very, very simple. And you can get a good feedback on what your audience would be more entailed to click on. So asking for feedback is always good. Experiment with different styles. So that's what I just said, like thumbnail A, thumbnail B. Get into your analytics, like maybe leave them on for a couple of days, or maybe if you have...
Or maybe a couple of months too.
Or a couple of months to have enough data,
Yes.
Also, you could experiment with for the same series of videos. For example, if it's tutorials, you create 2 groups on YouTube to playlist, and then one of the groups you upload one specific style of thumbnails, and the other group you upload another style of thumbnails, but these are the same kind of videos. So after maybe 2 or 3 months, you can go back and see which group performed better. And that would give you an indication on what style of thumbnails has performed better. And that's also one great thing about YouTube. You can change your thumbnails. So
that's cool.
You could even go back to your best performing videos the ones that have the most view, like the 5 ones that have the most views on your channel, change the thumbnails and see what's going on. Does it go up faster? Does it drop a little bit? So you have the choice to either go back to the original thumbnail, or if the new one is performing better, then it gives you an indication, look, this is a better style. So don't be afraid to run some experiments. And I know a lot of people, they will just put one thumbnail and leave it like this forever. Done. Thumbnail for this video, done forever.
Yeah, and I was actually going to say something, because you said that run these experiments with the high performance videos.
Yeah.
But actually I will do it the other way, because if these videos are working well, maybe it's because the thumbnail is doing his magic. It's magic. So I will do these experiments with videos that are not performing really well. Like you can check on YouTube at least, and you can see the analytics and see the impression click-through rate, and play with the ones that has the lowest click-through rate. So you can see if by changing the thumbnail you will have like an increase of the clicks, and it's a good idea, implying that you have already a certain number of followers, subscribers. If you have a small channel, it's possible that your videos with the lowest click-through rate, they have 50 views, and so you don't have enough data to really understand if the thumbnail is even making any difference at this stage. So depending on the size of your channel, of the size of the number of views you get, but I think it's a good strategy also. Take a set of pictures while shooting your video. So you're shooting your video, take half an hour to not just extract a frame from your video afterwards, but during the shooting, take your time to shoot some photos, like actual photos, higher resolution photos, full frame, with your camera, if you have a DSLR or whatever you're using. So take that time. You can see here your example that I don't remember if this was an actual photo we took or if it was a frame from the video, but that's the kind of result. It was a frame. Actually, it is a frame of the video, but I just wanted to illustrate that you can take a picture with the same setup of when you are filming the video. Instead of just filming, maybe you can take a couple of photos with the same setup.
Good point.
So
one thing, be careful about the positioning of your objects. Try to avoid the lower right corner of your thumbnails for putting important information, because the YouTube time indicator will always be positioned here, especially if you are browsing YouTube on a mobile phone, which people do every time more, so using YouTube from your phone. So be careful about this. And then finally, keep an eye at all times on your growth and performances. So use the data that YouTube puts at your disposal, the analytics, the insights, your channel dashboard, and get in there. Make some effort to understand them, what they mean, and how they affect your performances. So I believe this is super important. Maybe it's not that straightforward. When you first go there, you see all these numbers, and especially if you're not a number person like me, it could be intimidating, but it's really not that complicated. There are a lot of channels actually on YouTube explaining how this works. So I recommend you follow people like Tim Schmoyer, like Nick Nimin, who are like very good at explaining all this and also crushing it on YouTube.
Or just type on Google or YouTube like how to read YouTube analytics, and I'm sure you will find tons of articles and videos that will explain everything. So
exactly. So that's it for us, guys, and for this lecture on thumbnail strategy. In the next 2 lectures, Diana and I are going to show you step by step how to create 2 different YouTube thumbnails from our own channel. So make sure to follow the lectures.